It's my responsibility as a white person to train white people to change that thinking. It's not done from a governmental level, head down. What's the point? My name is Rebecca Crosby, and I'm on the leadership team of New Sight International, which is a faith-based organisation, and I'm also the founder of Accord, which is an international women's group.
Hi, my name is Metha Wanyirijira. I am the founder of End Slavery International and the talk show host of Inspire. Today we're going to look at Black Lives Matter. It's been an ongoing movement. I think some months ago I was running for someone who was killed in Georgia in the United States. He was killed while jogging, and at my surprise, someone again was killed, and that was George Floyd.
Yeah.
So it's been an ongoing, movement at this time. Everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I've been attending again many protest meetings online. I've seen blacks and white together, but really what surprised me again is that black people kept on talking, protesting, but white people are quiet, listening,
Yeah.
really not getting involved, but really there. I thank them for being there.
Right.
But I was surprised that they are not really getting out, speaking out, and that's what I thought. This is something that concerns us humans.
Right.
I wanted to see both black and white people on it, but for some reason it was just us blacks.
Yeah.
Again, this says to me that we want someone to hear us. Like, can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you see that my life really matter?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Beck, I know you're different. I've been following your post on Facebook. I've attended one of your virtual meetings on Zoom, and I could see the difference. I said, wow, finally I have found one white lady who is really with us. She's crying with us.
Yeah.
She's protesting with us. I said, I have to have a deeper conversation with her. So tell me, what do you think about this movement?
Well, thanks for having me, and thanks for talking about this with me, because I think this has been the thing that, to be really honest, that I've been really scared about. Because one of the things that I know is installed in my very being as a human being is that it is not right that black people are marginalized simply for the color of their skin. I have never been okay with that my whole life. I have never been okay with that in my adulthood. And for me, what this whole movement has done is that it has woken me up. And I realize that passivity and just feeling your pain is not enough. Yeah. And that's so patronizing to me, is that when you walk down a street and you see somebody begging on the street, that you go, oh, isn't that terrible, and walk on in to do your £100 supermarket shop. That's not right. There's not a balance within that. And so for me, I think what this has done is recently with the whole Black Lives Matters movement is that it has really put a conviction on me to be a part of that. But I have been really scared about that. And so I've got to be honest, I don't know if Black Lives Matters movement is where I belong, but I know that I absolutely belong in supporting that. And I know there are organisations such as White People for Black Lives Matter that I need to understand and protest properly. Yeah. So I don't patronise anybody. So I just don't go, oh, isn't this bad for you? I don't want that. I want to actually be part of stopping this, because it's not right.
Yeah.
And I feel really passionately about that.
So you just mentioned how you just want to protest properly. How do you think that could be done?
Well, if you want me to be really honest about that, Emertha,
Yeah.
I am white and I am privileged.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
I am absolutely not comfortable with that. I have spent a large part of my life fighting that, and I feel extremely misrepresented by my race in the understanding of that. I feel very, very uncomfortable with that. And I think that not knowing what to do about that has led to a lot of shame in me over the years. It's led to me getting a lot of things wrong because I don't know what to do and how to support and how to find solidarity with people of colour. But for me, I've kind of got this newfound confidence, if I'm honest, because of the Black Lives Matters protest and through really understanding that on a new level and from having conversations with you about this today, because I've known you for a long time, but we've never had a conversation about race. Yeah? And so for me, I'm starting to feel very comfortable and confident to do that. So rather than just going, wow, look at me, I understand Black people so well, that's not enough. I want to know what I can do as a white person in order to advocate for this issue. Because this is not about colour, it's about power. It's about inequality. It's about saying that I am worth more than you. It's about saying that I have better opportunities than you simply because of the colour of your skin. And I can't accept that. I can't.
Yeah, I understand. You just mentioned that you just don't know how to deal with it properly. Could that be the reason why most white people just choose to remain silent? Maybe because they don't know how to deal with this properly. And this brings again another perception where most people kind of say, no, they don't know about our history. They know nothing about what we've gone through. And we think they need to learn about our history now so that they know how to handle this matter properly. How does that sound?
Well, this is what I think. Okay? I think that in order to understand somebody else, so in order for me to understand you, I need to show interest. I need to understand how your life and your journey affects you. I need to understand what you've been through. I need to understand the difficulties that you have because of your colour. I need to understand all those things. I need to understand your culture. I need to understand everything about you. But you know what I think the key is? I think I need to understand myself too. And I think I need to understand why there is inequality in myself from who I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does make sense. And I think whoever suggests that the slavery history should be taught, I think that person could be right.
Oh, absolutely.
I think we all need to know. Because recently my son asked me, my son is just 9 years old, and he was like, Mom, do you think we're going to be killed because we're blacks?
Oh, Lord.
Do you think what is happening in America might happen here in the UK? I was afraid to hear that question from a 9-year-old. I said, no, probably not. So, Mom, I think I need to know how to behave when I see the police movement.
Well, it's interesting. The first thing I want to say about that is when you share that with me, what makes me, I can feel it rise up in me, this absolute fury, And I am somebody that it takes quite a lot for me to feel anger. I'm quite a chilled person. Don't ask my husband that, but I would say I was, right? But you know what? I am quite a chilled person. But I can feel this. I've gone from 0 to 1,000 in a second. And what I'm upset about when you say that to me is not that your son is seeing it like that, but it's the fact that I don't have to tell my kids that. That's what's making me angry. I don't have to have that conversation with my children. My children are mixed race. My husband is mixed race South African. And so we have experienced some prejudice. He has too. But not on a day-to-day level. And so it's interesting because I have 2 girls, they're 10 and 13. And for me, it's been, I would say, I was thinking about this before you came today, and I would say that we have more people of colour in our life than we do white people. Our friends, our church community, our family, everybody. So my children are very, very integrated. They have been from birth. But what really started off with my youngest daughter was last year in school, they learnt about Rosa Parks. And she came home and she just could not get her head around it. She could not believe that happened. And it was a big deal in her life. She could not understand it. So we bought her a book on Rosa Parks and we spent time on it. And we started looking through the book, and every sentence there was a question. And then she looked at me and it dawned on her. And she said, so if me and JL got on a boat, on a bus, then I would be allowed on and she wouldn't. And I said, yes. And she sobbed. And Mirtha, she broke her heart because that hurt her.
Yeah, it did.
And that's when the door opened for us to explain the issues of South Africa, which is her heritage, the issues of why her dad came to the UK in the first place, but also the issues of Black people.
Yeah.
And so but I just can't stop at educating my kids. We then got to do something about it, because information and intelligence or knowing is not enough. You have to have the full understanding of how to change that. So I'm not satisfied with just telling my kids about the awfulness of what happens to people of colour. We then have to start some sort of defence system within ourselves so that we do not carry on what we have been taught within our race. And that is where we are now with both my girls, because it's just not acceptable. And I think I've said it there, haven't I? That with her, it took so long for her to understand that was even possible. So what we've learned is that racism is learned behaviour.
Yes.
And if we can learn it, we can unlearn it.
That's right.
But that's my responsibility as a white person, to train white people to change that thinking.
Amazing.
And that's what I feel about it. And I feel very, very passionate about that. And I just hope that you feel that sincerity in me, because I really can't stand it. It pains me. It's not acceptable.
I love that. I mean, the word sincerity is what I've been looking for.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy for people to cover something up, to just smile and go,
Yeah.
to just show you that it's okay when it isn't.
Yeah.
So just imagine, my name is Imeltha Wanyirigira. Your name is Rebecca Crosby.
Yeah.
You're really British.
Yeah.
And I'm really African Rwandan.
Yeah.
Assuming we are applying for the same role in an organization,
Yeah.
with the same qualifications, and the boss is a British, looking at those two names. So sometimes my fear is my name.
Totally.
I know, okay, they haven't seen me, but probably if they see my name, they might say, oh,
Yeah.
she's Black.
Yeah.
She has no place here. That's what I have in my mind. Probably that's not what is going to happen.
Right.
But most likely it's going to happen. I know, thinking who stands higher chances.
Yeah.
Both qualified, but because of my name.
Yeah.
They haven't even seen me.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that they won't take me. That is like institutional racism when it
of
comes
course.
to that.
Which is a very real thing.
Yeah.
And can I just say that?
Yeah,
that
sure.
is a real thing.
Yeah.
Because I have been blown away recently by how many white people are saying it's not real. There's no white privilege. Everybody's privileged in their own culture. Please, come on. So the only thing I think you can do about that is to educate and legislate against that.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can do. Because people are not always open, or they work around the system of their own prejudices. Yeah, whether you want whether you have a gender issue in the workplace, or whether you have a colour issue or a race issue, that's not within the system of the workplace, but it's in the heart and the intent of the person who has power in that place.
Right. We're talking about institutional racism.
Yeah. So I think that is a real thing, and I want to say that because I don't think you can take that for granted, and I think that's probably part of the reason why white people don't get involved, is because they don't know that that's real, because they have never experienced it. Yeah. To them, it would be laughable that somebody wouldn't get a job because of the colour of their skin, because they are privileged.
Yeah.
They are part of the ones that are never questioned. Yeah. That it's laughable to them that they would ever be stopped by the police in their car because they're not part of that system. And that system is not designed for white people. That system is designed for people of colour. Yeah? And what I really believe is that the system hasn't just happened. This system has not just gone wrong. I think it was designed that way. I think institutional racism was a system that was designed by very clever people in order to create issues of power and inequality, because it then enabled them to gain. Yes, it was an easy way to gain. And, you know, I'm a great believer in life with all diversity and all difference, that it is difficult sometimes to put groups of people together, not necessarily colour, but anybody that has a difference, whether that be a political view or whether that be a religious view or whatever. It can be difficult at times to put people together. But I really believe that the way that you deal with that is to have a level of awareness within you to learn. And that's what I think needs to change. And I think that racism doesn't come from that. It's a habit of the culture. It's been handed down. I mean, we could do a whole nother 6 hours, Amertha, on imperialism and colonialism, which is what I've done in my degree. But I do think that we are relatively still within the trickle-down effect of that, because it didn't happen 4 years ago. It happened 100 years ago and less than that. Yeah? So it's not about slavery necessarily, but it's about the whole idea of superior thinking and perception. And so for me, that is what has to be addressed. And that's kind of been left up to our own individual devices to fight, like I am doing in myself, or to accept it. So my parents' generation, you will find a lot of racism, institutional racism within the older people, because they've never been challenged about that thinking. Yeah, that's a trickle-down effect from that culture. So for me, the only way that you can deal with racism is from a bottom-up approach, which is where we take personal responsibility on the ground in the day-to-day stuff, and we take responsibility for that in our own spheres of influence. Yeah. So whether I be doing that with my children, or whether I be doing that in society or whatever, or the things that I support or not allow, the words I speak, all of that is from a bottom-up approach. But also that has to be met from a top-down approach, where the power and the education is there as well. On a governmental level. That's right. And for me, that's the only way that then over generations gets wheedled out, because it's a learnt behaviour. That's what I think.
Yes, it is a learned behaviour.
Yeah.
And I think something could be done, because looking at people these days, some people are wondering why others are protesting.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I don't hate blacks, but I don't know how to tell them that I don't hate them. So they probably remain quiet. Some people don't see this as a problem because probably it doesn't affect them that much. Other people, it does affect them so much. So again, this, if we're not careful, it could bring a bit of division in our society. And we don't want that to happen. So how do we heal our society? How do we stand up, and protect our society from being angry, from being, from the hatred? How do we heal again our society here from your British culture perspective?
I think some of that comes from systems.
Yes.
Because you can't change power unless you change systems. And it doesn't matter how amazingly awesome my personal campaign is to make sure that what I can influence is influence to equality, if it's not done from a governmental level, head down. It's like me recycling perfectly and everybody else in the street not bothering. What's the point?
What's the point?
Right, you know what I mean? Yeah, and that's I feel passionately about that. That's why I absolutely believe that Black history has to be taught in schools from junior schools.
That's very
okay good. Because not at senior school, okay, but from junior school levels. Yeah, even if it's brought in on a much a smaller, slower paced level in junior schools, and then build up to the reality of what Black people have to experience through their history. Because what do you think about this, Amirtha? Is that I am white, and as far as I know, my heritage is white.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can trace back my family generations. I know where I've come from. I know what type of people we were. I can recognize, oh, look, we're musical. I'm musical. And it's all the way back in my family. So, you know, I can identify with that. But what I don't like is that my husband, who is mixed race South African, cannot do that. Mm-hmm. And he cannot do that because there is so much attention over time where there cannot be an acknowledgement that there was Black in the family because of the racism. But they're mixed race. Yeah. So that's the truth. Yes. And so what I have a problem with is that Black people can't trace back their heritage because they were belongings, not people. So they didn't have birth certificates. They didn't have educational documentation. They didn't have, you know, they weren't in the newspapers about all the amazing things that they had done. A lot of the documentation of Black people is in slave books about how much they were worth and sold for. So you don't have the access to knowing who you are the same as I do. And that is not okay. So to me, it's okay saying to white people, yeah, Black people have really been oppressed. But if you don't show them the truth of that, then how on earth do you expect them to make intellectual and emotional choices about how they do not partake and carry that on? And that is what I believe. So Black education for me, that is what I will personally be campaigning for now. Yeah. And I will be finding the right driver, the right organisation in order to campaign on that from now. That's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm researching where I can campaign properly and where that will make a difference, where I can lobby, where I can protest, where I can do what I need to do, because that has to be in schools. Yes. From junior schools right up to the end. I agree with you. And also, alongside that, there needs to be the freedom to discuss that in the schools. Yes. Okay? I want my daughter to go to a Black child and say, where did you come from? Which country did you come from? We're saying that anybody can do the next right thing. That's what we have that power, every single person. And it's time to do the next right thing. Yeah. Not just for Black people or for white people, but for society. Yeah. We've got to get it right. Yeah.
And we can do it.
We can do it.
We have the power.
We totally have the power. Yeah. If we do it together.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. If we do it together. It's the right word.
Yeah.
Love that. And thank you very much, Beck, for being part of this talk show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm so very happy that you joined us today. And thank you guys for being part of this talk show, and see you next time. That was George Floyd. So